Hidden Road is working to establish a global credit network for institutions across asset classes and products, but utilizing more modern day quantitative technology. The vision for the firm is to increase efficiency and transparency in the market through better access to data, credit, slash capital, as well as just more efficient workflows for counterparties on the other side.
How does the expansion into listed derivatives clearing align with the company's mission?
Listed derivatives are obviously a very important piece of any institutional trading, whether it's to gain access to some certain asset classes risk profiles, but also as a hedging tool. And the fact that it's a hedging tool allows us to have better transparency into risk enrichment, risk management styles of the counterparties, and therefore hopefully have a more complete view of the trades they're doing, the risk offset that they have, and better assess the risk of that counterparty. It makes sense to start with the CME because the CME crosses across multiple asset classes. So what's really important about Hidden Road is we cover traditional finance as well as digital assets, and CME also does that. So CME seems like an obvious place to start, where we would be able to offer the hedging mechanism for FX, fixed income, digital assets, equity indices, and commodities. We'll continue to add CCPs from there based on institutional needs and demands, so that we have better risk, a better risk view of those counterparties, as well as just better efficiency for companies.
How does this help institutional investors obtain credit and financing to trade efficiently across fragmented global markets?
Part of this offering is having cross-margining and margin financing as part of our kind of suite of offerings for prime services and credit intermediation. Any market participant would acknowledge that listed derivatives in some way, shape, or form offset the risk of the underlying product. And yet, a lot of these credit intermediaries don't offer the acknowledgement of that and the financing of that, making it more expensive to deploy capital and trade that way. It's a relatively limited offering in the marketplace. In doing so, one, they limit perhaps the transparency they get into the counterparty's risk, but they also make it harder for the counterparty to do that trade and to have access to capital and to be doing risk management. A lot of firms structure that in a way where they deploy balance sheets to use that and are disincentivized from allowing counterparties to deploy that capital. And that is very clear when you're on the other side in an institution, which I was. And so the goal here is the way we've structured it, we actually are incentivized to deploy that capital. And hopefully, that leads to the more efficient markets for counterparties.
How does the launch of Route 28 address the needs of institutional clients?
Swaps such as these trade in a very bilateral nature. You have to enter that trade and exit the trade with the same participant. It is hard to claim that is efficient and leading to the best price, in an unconflicted manner. Since we're an intermediary that, is unconflicted here, we allow participants and currency makers, the maker and taker, to trade with each other where it makes sense. They may enter and exit with a different maker and taker, but they're able to trade at the best price, and it just leads to more efficient markets. These swaps trade relatively regularly and are already present in institutional portfolios. So providing that access, as well as the access to cross-margining and margin financing for the hedges, generally futures, although there may be other ways that they hedge, makes it cheaper and easier to trade, which leads to better pricing. Also, again, building out the front-end network, if we don't have a complete offering and counterparties are having to do some things with us and some things away from us, then we don't have a full view of their risk, and that probably doesn't put us in a good position.
Why does Hidden Road seek out regulation around the world for crypto markets?
We believe these assets should be regulated in a reasonable and responsible way, same as other asset classes. So we like to work with regulators to understand how the regulations they have may apply to digital assets and highlight differences with digital assets that will make it difficult for those regulations to be applied to digital assets. In the end, that leads to more transparent markets and better protects all of the market participants and investors.